Okay, today's Monday. Um, got not much to do. I said I'd stream. Can see how this goes. And I thought I'd take you folks. I thought I'd take you folks. Well, one sec. Let me just fix a few things here. Hmm. How do I want to do this? Mute. See, I'm afraid if I put mute on this. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to get used to this. All right. Okay. Um. So where are we at? Um. So Monday, I thought I'd take you folks through some World of Warcraft. Um. I haven't played in a while. Um. And I thought I'd see how World of Warcraft looks on this new setup. I've done some previous streams on World of Warcraft, and it turned out pretty crappy, to tell you the truth. And so I kind of want to get around that at the moment. Um, hmm. So, see, what I'm trying to do here is that the other day I had the sound set up, and I had it so that I could capture my voice on my microphone. My main microphone was hooked up to my main desktop, which is on my gaming laptop, not on my streaming laptop, which is what OBS is running on. Sorry if you non-technical people. So right now I have these headphones, which is hooked to my streaming PC, and I'm hearing the audio from it that it's capturing. And so I'm using it as a monitor. And there's a slight delay in my voice on the recorded voice, and I'm hearing it as feedback. So it's a little loud, but I needed that loud because I needed to be recorded that loud. And yeah, so I have it in my ears. So I'm hearing myself as I'm doing the podcast. It's a little distracting. So if I seem a little distracted, I'm going to use this. Okay, so I don't know if I really want to go through like the other basics like of World of Warcraft because that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be doing a series of these videos about like how to do well how to start gaming, I guess. But stuff like starting accounts and all that shit. Oh well. Not my forte. um, maybe to the people who know me better and can figure this out, maybe you can comment and I can do another stream on just that because there's a whole bunch of account stuff I have to go through, and I'm not gonna do a video on that. Okay, so let's assume that you've signed up for BattleNet and you have World of Warcraft appearing in front of you after you've created your account. Um, uh, yeah, I thought I'd take you through that experience. Start a new character on the server I'm on. I think I have enough slots because you're limited to how many characters you can have on a server, and there's a lot of servers you can join. But not that that matters anymore because there's this whole cross server stuff. Um, Long story. But yeah, I guess I should really explain about that stuff too. But anyways, let's log in, right? Okay. So we're gonna be playing World of Warcraft, Cataclysm, Classic. So the World of Warcraft that's current, or what they call retail, is I forgot what version it's on, but it's on a version called the Enemy Within, or the War Within, and I think it's so that's a lot of expansions. And um, a few years ago, maybe it's 5 years ago, there was this push to kind of have um, some servers that were rolled back because there's a lot of us old timers who don't aren't really into the new stuff. I guess, and wanted to get back to gaming, and would play like old um, expansions. But I mean, it's a server game. Um, it's a live game, so um, uh, it wouldn't it you'd have to start some servers, and then you did, and it would have to be uh, to basically roll back the content to, let's say, okay, right now they're in Cataclysm, and that's like the one, two, three, fourth expansion, I think. Wait, there's Burning Crusade, and then there's Wrath of the Lich King, um, and then Wrath of the Lich King, yeah, and then it's Cataclysm, so it's third. Um, well, fourth if you count the original, right? As a well, not an expansion, but as a version. So it's the fourth version of the game, or fourth expansion. The third expansion, fourth version of the game. Yeah. So the retail servers are on the latest version, and I think they're at version or expansion 9, 10. And the story, uh, there is a story, and there's characters in the game. Um, iconic characters to the story of of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft. Um, and yeah, essentially, it's a world, planet, a world, um, where there's two main factions of creatures. Um, and it's based on Hobbit, Tolkien, uh, Lord of the Rings. Uh, those designations or races that we are familiar with if you're into the Lord of the Rings stuff. Um, you've got the Alliance, which is basically the humans, the elves, the dwarves, and the gnomes, um, who are kind of like this group of nations, I guess. And then you've got the Horde, or the green creatures. So we're talking about the orcs, the goblins, the Tauren, so cow people, and the Forsaken, who are the undead. Or, yes, they're a form of undead, I guess. Oh yeah, and Blood Elves, as of last expansion. And, was it? Really there? Oh, and the Draenei, who are kind of like these, they're essentially demons, but good demons, if you believe in that stuff. They're on the Alliance side. Sorry. Um, the Draenei are on the Alliance side, and the Blood Elves are on the Horde side. And then, as of Cataclysm, we have another group of races that got added in. We've got the werewolves, or what do they call them again? I used to know these things. Yeah. Anyways, so the werewolves, or a race of werewolves, or a cursed race of humans. Worgen, that's it. The Worgen, or the Wolfen. The Wargs. Um, yeah, so they're the Worgen on the Alliance side. So the werewolf people have joined the Alliance, and the humans, I guess the human thing. And who joined the oh, you're right, the goblins. Right, because not the goblins. Is it the goblins? Yeah, the goblins. Right. The goblins. Right, and the goblins weren't there initially. It was the trolls. They have trolls. Right. The Horde has trolls, so the first few races were the orcs, then the trolls, then the Tauren. They were the first races in the Horde, and then it was the Blood Elves, and now the Goblins, because the Goblins were mostly neutral up until the Cataclysm expansion, which is the one we're playing. else I can add in? Okay, I guess we can start. So you usually have this BattleNet, Blizzard, right? Okay, so there's Blizzard, Activision, and they're like the producing company, and then there's Blizzard. No, sorry, Blizzard Activision, right? That's the company, and they have a distributing system for the games called BattleNet, and World of Warcraft is part of that. So when you play World of Warcraft, you are forced to install BattleNet, and then you purchase World of Warcraft on BattleNet, and then you log in from there. So you have the first initial little mini app that floats on your screen. Say log in, you might have to log in, or it might automatically log in for you, and then you're brought into the game. Now there's the game has many servers. And I keep saying not that it matters, but it does matter. I don't think you can join a guild on another server. I'm not sure. And by guild I mean a group. So you have the two factions, the Horde and the Alliance, and you can play on either side, right? We're going to be playing on the Alliance side because I have a lot of resources there and a lot of characters there and whatnot. Okay. Oh wow, that's some other characters here. All right. Okay. So maybe I'll just start from the beginning. Okay. So you got characters. When you create, you're going to create a new character, or we're going to create a new character, and the new character can be one of 5 races. The faction that you choose, right? And then, so you create your character, and then you join the world, and then for the beginning, the first part of the game is all about, you know what, just lower the music. Let's lower the music. Let's do that. Alright, so I know there's a way to configure stuff. Menu? Ah, there we go. System? Ah, there we go. Let's go to the audio. Let's lower the music a bit. The music's pretty epic, but I'm trying to talk. Alright. Alright, and then the effects, we'll just bring it down a notch, and the ambience will bring it up a little bit. And then dialogue, we want to hear that. Let's not make it from the environment. Alright. There we go. Alright. Anyways. So what can I get to? Right. So we were getting to how the world's divided and the groups and stuff. Okay. So you choose a faction, that's Horde Alliance. Then you create a character. And the character can be one of 5 races on either side, and the races are unique to either side. So on the Horde, which we're not playing, and I do like the Horde, don't get me wrong, I actually started on the Horde. So that's the green creatures, or what we refer to as the green or colored creatures, or whatever you want. No, not colored as in colored as people want to make it as in colored as in they're just colored green. Okay? But anyways, you got the orcs, which are the kind of like the British big race, right? And then you got the trolls, and they're not like the ones under the bridge. They're actually kind of like the elves. Actually, they're related to the elves. They're just green and kind of wild looking with tusks and stuff. And then okay, so the orcs, trolls, Tauren, right? Tauren are the cow people. It's like minotaurs, I guess. It's a race of minotaurs. If you don't know, if you know that stuff, well, that's the only thing I think of at the moment. And then there's the undead, or the Forsaken. So how do I explain that? So they're literally the undead. reanimated through not demon magic. Is it demon magic? Death magic, whatever you want to call it. But somehow these reanimated um, beings, mostly humans. Well, actually, it's all kinds of beings apparently. There's like undead elves and stuff like that. And yeah, actually, there's all kinds of undead. They can be almost any race actually. Um, and it's strange because when you start as Forsaken, you can only really pick human-like characters. But anyways, there's supposed to be undead stuff. Like that's not human, like other races. I don't know why they don't do that. Actually, to tell you the truth, they should. But this is like a game that was out. Well, this version of the game. Um, when was this? Cataclysm. Oh right, that should have been in 2009, 2008. So almost a decade ago. Eight, two, three. Decade and a bit. 15 years. Wow, that's a long time. Um, so yeah, so that version of the game had those races to the undead. Oh yeah, and then so that's the hordes. Oh yeah, and the horde side, there's other races. There's two other. There should be two new other races. So you have the goblins, which are the I guess there's short people. Every side has a short people. So on the horde side, it's the goblins, and then they have the what was the other one? Goblins. Oh yeah, the blood elves, um, which are they're elves who base their sort because elves are magical creatures, and so the good elves are okay. Sorry, not the good elves. The alliance elves or the wood elves or the night elves. Sorry, night elves are the nature-based um, magic elves, magic people with the pointy ears and stuff. Um, they're actually kind of like the Vulcans, you know, kind of, if you want to think of it that way. Or, well, they're kind of passionate too. But I know they come across like Vulcans, almost. You know, having like slightly superior physique and some high intellect abilities and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what I'd compare them to. Actually, my main character, Sinonia over here, as you see on the screen, she's an elf, a druid elf. Okay, so a lot to explain here, right? So so there's so that's the horde, the green people, and then of course on the alliance side we have the elves, the humans, the gnomes. Um, we have the werewolves, and did I say gnomes? Well, the gnomes are kind of like the hobbits, I guess. That's one way to look at them. They're kind of annoying, and they're the token short people of the alliance. All that. A lot of people like to think, like Horde evil and Alliance good, but um, as you play the game, you start realizing that they're just two sides of the coin, of the same coin. Um, so, um, just different. And actually, when you put it in context, and this is this is the ideology of the game back then, which to me is just a lot more real. Like we are two sides of the same coin. We are people. And there's a lot of things that we kind of need, and want. And it's 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 not a race of evil people. You know, I guess that's one way to look at it. And evil is outside of that. There is evil. It's just not on the color of your skin. I guess that's one way to look at it, and I like that. And that's one thing that's always one of the good things that's always resonated about the conflict in World of Warcraft. It's very real, and it portrays both sides as normal people, really. in just this weird world kind of thing. Anyways, so on top of a race, you get to choose a class, which is like a job. Um, so um, on either side, um, they try to have like a balance of classes, but there's some, I guess, differences, or there used to be, and they've changed all that. So it's like all the roles are on one side or all on the roles on the other, but there's some kind of there's like there's um, certain races can't be certain classes. Like Tauren are like 8 foot cow people, so it'd be kind of hard to be a thief. I'll put it that way. So I don't think there are any rogue Tauren, as far as I know, even in the current game. God, I hope not. There used to be, um, like on the Horde side, they had Shaman, and on the Alliance side, they had Paladin. There used to be that, but now there's either on both sides. It's just that, for example, oh, here's one, my favorite one, Druids. Um, that's the class I play. Um, in this version of the game, Druids, I think, can be um, on the Alliance side, they're Night Elves or Worgen, the werewolf people. And on the Horde side, it's the Tauren and the Trolls, who can be Druids. Right. Um, Shaman, I think on the Horde side, I think everyone but a Goblin can be a Shaman. Something like that. And then on the Alliance side, in the role of a Paladin, who can be a Paladin again? It's like humans, dwarves. Oh, that's it. And then when they had paladins on both sides, then it was only blood elves on the horde side who could be paladins, because they had kind of a similar but a different magic that allowed them to be paladins, or unholy knights, basically, whatever that is. It's kind of weird because, like, you know, where's this content struggle, I guess, to not portray either side as evil, and yet, you know, you have some that are clearly drawing from evil magic. So, yeah. Anyhow, um, right. So let's create a character. Let's start by creating a character. Um, I have a bunch of characters. I play a lot. I play a lot of druids actually. So my main character is usually a druid. They're pretty versatile. I guess that's one way to describe them. I actually have some stuff here. Alright, so we're going to create a new character. And there's usually a big button to do that, of course. So we'll create a new character. So character creation in World of Warcraft is pretty much on rails. Um, I mean, there's variety in what you can choose and the classes you want to choose, but, you know. We're going to start with Alliance. We'll do an elf, because I know elves. What class are we in? Well, elves can be warriors. Oh wait, sorry. Is that a warrior? Yeah, warriors. Okay, right. Okay. So people who use swords and pretty much any weapon, combat oriented, sucks at magic. Really sucks at magic. um, into wearing heavy armor and wielding big weapons and stuff. Hunter. Oh, cool. Right. Hunters have pets and guns and maybe melee weapons. But typically, hunters are ranged characters and constantly do things from a distance. They send their pet in whenever they're soloing to tank the target. So basically, maintain the focus of the target so that they don't pick on the poor hunter who stands in the distance and shoots with a gun or a bow. Okay. Rogue. What can I say about the rogue? Okay. Um, Turns invisible. Stabs people in the back. Usually can be one of two types of rogues. So very melee weapon combat, but agility based. So daggers, light swords, one-handed swords. Not the bit. No two-handed. No two-handers. Um, can turn invisible. Yes. They can turn invisible and strike out of the shadows. Um, Good for PvP, player versus player, and there's definitely some of that in this game if you want to participate. Um, Agility base, light armor, really light armor. Like, I think they can only wear leather, to tell you the truth. So yeah, really squishy. But I play rogues, and they're actually a lot of fun. So maybe I'll play rogue. Who knows? I'll create a new rogue from nothing. Okay, now we're getting to some unfamiliar territory. Priest, healer, or magic damage dealer. Magic damage dealer. Let's see. Yeah, healer. So there. Well, there's basically two types. Like I said, there's a healer type, and either they just directly heal through magic, wave a hand, direct at that damaged player, restore health points. That's usually what they do. Um, or another type of healing they can do is defensive magic, so they can create shields around people that absorb damage, so mitigate damage, and slightly less powerful heal. They call that discipline, if we get into it later on. Or they're the damage type, so they basically do curses, drain magic, basically things that would make you kind of like a vampire, basically. That type of magic, life magic. That's it. So they do that sort of thing. Um, yeah. So not really into priests. They wear cloth, really squishy. Um, Probably draw a lot of attention because most of the time, especially when you're doing player versus player or groups of players versus groups of players, the first thing you target is the healer. Because if there's no healer, there's no healing. And if there's no healing, people die. And that's usually what you're going for. Right. Let's move on. Oh, Death Knight. Okay. Alright, this is what they call a heroic class. It came with the expansion before Cataclysm called Wrath of the Lich King. I guess this is their attempt at how the undead or the Forsaken should have been like a mix of races. Right. So one of the things about being a Death Knight is a Death Knight can be anything, like literally anything. It can come from any race, any faction. Obviously, if you come back, essentially you're a resurrected hero who initially was put into the service of the Lich King, the big villain from the last expansion, as basically um, an intelligent zombie, I guess is what you can describe it as. Um, and then they were freed as of the end of the last expansion when they defeated Arthas, the Lich King. Um, and then prior to that, there was basically, I guess because they were strong personalities in life, that eventually they were able to break the hold the Lich King had over them and return to their factions as fallen heroes. Um, and then eventually they were reabsorbed, especially since they were good foils for the Lich King to actually use people or warriors made of the same magic, basically his own. And like I said, they're a hero class, so they are slightly overpowered. Um, but the they can be anything. I mean, most of the time they're kind of like a cross between a fury warrior, and a paladin. So they have some magic. They use. I think a lot of the magic they have is sort of like health restoration magic, like the damage they cause essentially gets absorbed as life points. So they kind of, I think a lot of the styles that Death Knight's into. I have a Death Knight, so but the thing is, I mean, I kind of just use it to farm, or just kind of get across the world, collect stuff in the world, because they're badasses, and like kind of figured how to use a particular one or a particular style of one. But I mean, they can do anything. I mean, I've been in guilds where they're like the main tank, or you know, they're in demand. Um, Off the bat, with crappy gear, apparently, they can do a lot, and they don't. They're low maintenance. I win buttons, basically. If you've got one of these in your group who know what they're doing, your group's gonna get through. So, in any case, I don't typically play my Death Knight in a group. I just solo with it most of the time. Mage, magic user, wizards, Gandalf, that sort of thing. Not my favorite class. Um, I'm more into melee classes. Anyways. Yeah. They either freeze things or set things on fire magically. They're the ones with the fireballs and the meteor showers, if you're into that. Lightning attacks. Or there's frost base mages, and they would use like frost bolts and blizzard winds to freeze people and stuff. There's also another type of mage called the arcane mage, and I don't know how to describe them. They use old magic, so how would I describe that? I don't know. I guess we're supposed to think of it like as a pure form of magic, where other magics are tainted with the aspect that they're part of, um, like energy. like pure energy. It is because I mean a lot of the attacks are kind of like electric based, energy based. Not fire, not frost. Not nature, not death, but magic, energy. I guess that's one way to describe it. Anyways, that's a mage. Range, a lot of range, a lot of AOE, area of effect attacks like frost, uh, frost nova, like a poof of frost, and everything around you is like frozen, kind of like Sub Zero, kind of that deal. Um, Suck at melee, but they can use swords, but I think they use it more like a staff or a wand. Um, I don't think anybody ever hits with those things. I think they usually go for like magic swords. So swords with imbued with magic, and all they do is they just have like really good stats enhancers, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, not my favorite class. But I played a few, but maybe I've rated with one. But I'm not totally serious with any mage I play. So, anyways. Oh. Okay, Druid. Alright. This class I play a lot. Alright. Okay, they're nature based, or moon based magic. Yeah, right, because they have actually different aspects of their magic and all. Okay. Alright, so druids, they're kind of like, they can, yeah, okay. Alright, so there's their class, and they're a class that can specialize in the three roles in any group, which is mostly what this game's about. Um, Participating in groups to do take on um, enemies more powerful than you are, and you get into a group and you play a role, and that's probably one of the things that a lot of people don't immediately understand about the game. Um, where that you play a role, but you have a job to do, and it's a job that's unique to the group. Um, and by unique, I mean like the role you play. So in every group, um, there's always a tank, and that's basically the heavily armored person who draws attention of the um, big bad enemy. His deal is to basically absorb damage and make sure that enemies are totally focused on beating him up and pissed off at him instead of turning around and incinerating your mages and your healers and everyone else who's doing the real damage in the group. Um, so, and then you have the healer. Uh, Second most, I have to say, important person in the party. Um, and I say second most because you might be able to get through a dungeon with just a tank. So that's why he's number one. But the minute you have a tank and a healer, who knows what he's doing, of course, then the rest is all about how fast the damage dealers of the group, the third role in the party, um, do that. So the core of the group, I'd say, would always be the tank and then the healer. And then the rest of the group are damage dealers. Now, the damage dealers, you have two obvious varieties. You've got the ones that can do damage up close. So, warriors, healers, rogues, um, druids, anything that needs to be up close and personal with a weapon or without a weapon to do damage. And then you got your range. People who stand back, like the mages, the hunters, um, anyone who attacks with a range attack. Fireballs, arrows, frostbolts, arcane missiles. Um, but probably because I took too long. Okay. So, so those are three main roles. Um, so depending on what server you're on, you can have a list. You can make any character you want. If you're on the PvP server, um, so servers that are more focused on the player versus player experience versus the actual playing of the story and getting of the loot and doing dungeons and fighting everything that's virtual, then you can only choose one side and make characters only on one side. But on the PvE servers, or player versus environment, you can create characters on either side, and you're limited to, I think, 10 characters per server. And 50 characters in total, across all servers. So, let's create a new character. I think this video is just going to cover creating a character. And this is just the raw live footage of me doing that. And then I'll continue with the character, and then go through the starting experience of loving your character and stuff. All right. What do I want to do? All right. So I don't have a Worgen, but I hate the startup experience of the Worgen. Let's keep things simple for now. We're gonna stick with what we know. Alright, so I'm gonna be a night elf. I'm gonna be a druid. Oh. Body type? Is that how they do it now? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I play females. I'm gonna play a female. Alright. You can choose a skin color, face, to your liking. Now, them lips. Angelina Jolie-like. Okay, let's stick with that. Hair color, I have green here. I have white. Purple? Okay, why not? Alright. Markings. Oh yeah, tattoo. Face tattoos. Let's go with none. The hair. I don't like that style. No. What's this one? Tail. No. No, what am I doing? I want purple. And then, no, I don't want that. Hair, right. The hell? Oh. No. No. What's the color? Different color. Okay. Well, let's just. Oh, oh, it's ugly in the back. What is that? It's like a mullet. Never mind. Now we're back to default. Okay. I really got to do something about these styles. Ew. Ew. It's back to the first one I had before. Yeah. No. Hairstyle idiot. Alright. I guess we'll go with that. Of course, I have to give it a name. Oh god, I didn't even think about this. Alright. Drenia. Hmm. Drenia. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. Sorry not being that much creative, but well, let's go with this. Okay. So, gonna accept. It's gonna play a little startup animation, and it'll bring us to the town of beginnings, I guess, for the elves or the starter zone. So let's go through that sequence. Ooh, okay, wait, I have to enter the world with Druinia. Okay, there we go. Hmm. Probably should take a look at the stream afterwards, see how this is going. But I mean, like so far, um, stream's actually not bad. I mean, if it looks as good as it does on my OBS.
After years of imprisonment within the Emerald Nightmare, Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage has finally returned to the mortal world. Reunited with his love, Tyrande Whisperwind, Malfurion endeavors now to heal the corrupted world tree Teldrassil and rejuvenate the spirit of the Night Elf people. Yet as the great cataclysm shakes the boughs of their colossal tree, the Night Elves brace themselves against the coming storm. As war and destruction close in from all sides, it falls to Night Elves like you to stand strong and protect the enduring legacy of your people.
All right. I have these. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. That's a reset, right? Okay. Um, one, I'm not using the default UI of the game. Um, I have this add-on. Um, more stuff to go into. All right. Um, the really cool thing about World of Warcraft when it first started, off the bat, like, wait, how do I pin this? Oh, yeah, lock it. There we go. Is that you could build these, like the community can build these modifications to the UI, and they're called plugins or add-ons. And then if you add them to the game and install them, and I mean, there's enough explanation online. You can do this yourself. It's not hard. You literally just copy pasting a whole directory into another directory. That's it. Um, you can add add-ons, and it modifies the game to look or to basically you can configure where bars and stuff you click on is on the screen, and um, and more information is being reported to you. Um, so in a game where you constantly have to know whether something's available or not, you kind of want to put things in the line of sight of your site. So anyhow, you'll see more of this later. Sorry about the airplane. It's kind of loud. I have the window open. Let the plane through. Wait, what's this? Oh, right. Anyways, we'll ignore that for now. Okay, so we're kind of in what they call a starting zone, and you'll see like there's these creatures, right? And they have like yellow tags, and these are actual creatures you can fight in the game. But you'll notice the tags are in yellow. It means that they won't attack you on sight. As you go through this world, you'll start noticing the tags will turn red. And those are things that will attack you on sight, depending on how much bigger it is in levels than you are. Usually, if they're the same level as you are, they will attack. If you're at least 10 levels above, they'll ignore you. So in the starting zone, everything here won't attack you on sight. And usually you're given quests to start your leveling process. And there's a thing called the level cap. Makes basically the maximum level you can achieve in the game currently. In World of Warcraft Cataclysm expansion, that's level 85, I believe. So typically in an expansion, you go through a new leveling process, but it's usually not as intense as the initial one, which is what we're going to go through with Druimia, probably in this series that I'm kind of working on. Kind of like the How to WoW Noob series. And I'll figure that out. Oh yeah, okay. So maybe as to end off our initial um, live video on this, I'll just take you through things, the UI, and taking your first quest and doing your first quest, and perhaps showing you what the action will be like. I'm kind of interested to see how action is now displayed on my new streaming setup, because before it would just lag out, and now it doesn't seem to be doing that. All right. So depending on how you configured your layout, most of the time, escape will get you this menu. From this menu, you can select stuff like options, and that will get you to the stuff like video, audio, and also the key bindings menu, which is what buttons on your keyboard are mapped to what. So typically, if you look in the key bindings, movement keys, let's start off there. Now, by default, um, I think, right, okay. By default, WSAD, um, the characters on your keyboard. Now, if you look that up on your keyboard, you'll notice they're really close to one another. They literally form a cross. Now, um, this comes from um, gaming, I guess, a long, long time ago, back in the 90s when it all started. I think 90s. Um, they're basically it's the keys on the keyboard. They're close together, and then they're on your left hand. Um, so you control the motion, um, the lateral motion of your character through the WASD keys, which is like your cursor keys. You can map them to your cursor keys, but that means that on a keyboard that would be on your right hand, and you need your right hand to actually use your mouse. So your left hand will guide your footsteps, and your mouse will actually direct you um, on where you look and how you're targeting your character and what you're pointing at. Now, there's a few other things you kind of want to make sure are mapped a certain way, and you'll notice that there's a few things actually on mine by default, and my default, that are not set by their defaults. So, what do I mean? Um, so, you'll notice here, move forward, move backward, is W and S. So, they're one on top of the other. So, forward and backward. And then you'll have a turn left, turn right. Okay, so you'll notice that I have left arrow, right arrow here. And this is to actually turn, to, to turn on a dime. Okay? Now, you don't really need that. That's something you already do with your mouse, because your mouse is basically pointing at where you want to go and all. Now, what I do program the A and D to is strafe left and strafe right. And so what that is sidestepping, which is a lot more useful than turning. So if you're like running up to something and somebody launches a fireball at you, not that it kind of matters anyways because it's tap targeting. But I mean, if you want to duck out of like, oh, I know, like there's attacks where they basically light up the floor with something, like like set it on fire, and you want to sidestep shit like that. So strafe, left, right, a lot better options for your A and D controller. All that. You have jump. You can jump in this game. You have a limited jump, unless you have a special ability. Um, it's usually mapped into spacebar. Um, it's you can use it to get across stuff. Like you can use it to do kind of some platforming in the game, um, or to avoid stuff on the ground. But it's kind of really limited to what you can do with it. It's not really like what do they call it? A roll. You know, like in some other games, sometimes you can roll past the damage. Basically, you get into a rolling animation and you take limited to, or no damage as you're in the animation loop. Dodge. That's it. They call it a dodge. So there is no dodge in the game. There's jump, and it's not really a dodge. Something to keep in mind. Let's see what other ones. I think. Oh yeah, the mouse, right? And of course you have the mouse, and then you have your action bars, right? Um, So the mouse, get to it. So let me describe what's happening right now. Now I am pressing on the W button to go forward, and I'm using my mouse to basically point my character to where I want it to go. And the way I'm doing that is I hold down the right mouse button. So when I hold the right mouse down, I control what my character is pointing at. If I rotate my mouse and I use the left mouse button, I control where my camera is going. So if I want to take selfies, I can use the scroll to pull back my camera view of my character. Or I could go up close, or if I really want to like have the true first person experience, you can. You can just, zoom in using the mouse wheel and basically see it from the point of view of your character. Some people are into this, I'm not. Okay. Alright, so the other thing you have access to is you'll notice that you have these action buttons, or these buttons. And they're all over my UI right now, and you'll see that they're empty. Eventually what happens is that I'm going to be able to populate these with actual abilities, and that of my character that I'm playing, and that being a druid who is a night elf, and you're allotted some abilities and all that. Like for example, like this one, the elves have like kind of like a static turn invisible. It's kind of a racial ability because you're a night elf. I guess it's in the name. So I have in my with the add-ons, I've pre-mapped these buttons to these letters on the keyboard. So this is like button 1, and this is button Q, the Q key in the keyboard, and the E key, and they're strategically laid out for me. So like I choose the E and the Q because they're close to where my movement keys are. Right. So like if I wanted to map that ability to Shift E, that's what SE is for me, Shift E. So now if I press Shift E on my keyboard, you'll see I'll turn invisible. Right. And then if I move with this version of stealth or invisibility, I lose my invisibility. See? So I'm not invisible again. And there's a cooldown. So it will tell me that I have 2 minutes before I can actually perform this ability again. Now, the other ability they do have is something called Wrath. And Wrath is, it's like a Hadouken, basically a glowing yellow orb of energy, of magic, of damage magic. So whenever I press my 3 and I have something aimed, it will cast a magic energy ball of death towards that target. Right. Now the other things I need to put, I have other abilities, and right now if I press P, I get basically a list of abilities that I have access to. And these are abilities I will get, but you'll notice they're grayed out, and it's because I'm not of level yet to access them. So eventually I'll get these. Right now the other thing I can do is Wrath. So, doing this fireball. I might have other abilities actually. Okay, maybe not. Alright, I guess I do. Alright. Okay, there's that. And this is professions, so I can, these are professions, so these are basically, how do I explain this? They're like, oh yeah, that's it. You can craft things, right. So, like, you could be a professional gatherer. So if you're like a miner, then only you can go out in the world, identify and find nodes of metals and stone, and go up to these nodes and use your little pick and extract materials from the node. If you're herbalist, for example, um, you'll see these plants in the world, virtual plants, and you'll be able to go up to them and collect them. And that's, of course, the type of plants and the quality of plants depends on the level in your profession. So you have to level that up too. Um, let's see, there's something else. I should have more than this. Right. And then there's my class abilities. Class related abilities. I don't think I have access. Maybe I don't have access that way. Okay. Oh, the spell book. That's my journal. The character sheet. Oh yeah, my character sheet shows me the armor I'm wearing. Right now I'm just playing, I'm wearing plain clothes. So nothing fancy, just cloth. I have slots, so I can wear 2 rings and have 2 trinkets. They show an earring. It could be an earring or some trinket, charm, brooch, whatever. Um, yeah. So I can wear 2 of those. And each item will probably contribute some kind of magical status to my character, making it more powerful. Or more armor, for example. So 2 rings, 2 trinkets, 1 neck piece, and then you have your usual array of head armor, shoulders, chest plate, cape. You have some cosmetic items, like the shirts is cosmetic, contributes to none of your stats. Then you have like okay, chest plate, wrist or armbands, gloves, belt, pants, and shoes for the feet. Um, you have a weapons box, so your main weapon, or if you're wielding a 2-handed weapon, it will occupy the first slot and your offhand slot. So, 2-handed weapon will disable the offhand slot, and if you have a 1-handed weapon and you have the skill to use an offhand or a second weapon, that's a 1-hand, then this will allow you to place a weapon. And then you have what's called the relic slot, and that's kind of like an added trinket. It's usually something to do with your class, and depending what class you are, they'll name the relic slot something else. Um, so it could be like, kind of like a focus. Kind of like um, if you're into Marvel, Doctor Strange has that necklace thing with the little trinket on the inside. Kind of like that. Kind of that deal. Um, but yeah, it's kind of the way you're supposed to think. But you'll see as we level this character, we'll be filling those slots, and you'll see how that works. There's also a little bit of a math / science to it, understanding how different stats affects you differently if you're depending on what class you are. Like for example, it's the reason why, for example, magic users don't use heavy armor, because the thinking is that, well, the rule is that, heavy armor restricts your motions and doesn't allow you to do magic, and probably seals you off from your source and all that lore bullcrap. So anyways, there's stuff like that. And it limits the type of gear you can wear and the weapons you can use, the type of class you are. So obviously, if you're a magic user, or a heavy magic user, you won't be using heavy weapons, or you won't be using heavy armor. You'll be using cloth, and you'll be using wands, or focus type weapons that you don't really melee with. Um, or it could be a wand, so it's a ranged weapon. Um, Whereas if you're melee, or melee, or whatever you want to pronounce it as, use weapons. These weapons can be two-handed, could be one-handed, could be daggers, could be swords, could be axes, so on and so forth. Um, if you're ranged, that makes you basically a hunter, because I think they're the only ones who could use bows and guns. So, um, we'll go over it another time. But certain classes have pets and or companions. So the most typical one would be the hunter. They would be able to go in the world, walk up to one of these random creatures, like this one, and apply some kind of magic to it, and tame them to be their pet. And maybe I'll do a separate cast on that. On Yeah, we'll do one on the companion classes. That's what we'll call it. Another example would be like a warlock. Warlock can summon demons, and they pretty much work the same way. Um, as you go up in level, you'll have different pet-related abilities, and you'll be able to command them to attack or defend you, or to grant you some kind of damage bonus, for example, um, or defensive bonus. Um, right. Okay. There's that. Now, I don't have access to it at the moment because I'm too low level, but there's another customization you can do on your character, and we call them the talent trees. Um, Now, on top of choosing class you want to play, you can further configure that character to, for example, focus on a more specific role that you're granted by being that class. So, like for example, um, as a druid, you can be all three roles: healer, damage dealer, or tank. But you can't be all three of them at the same time. But what you can do is you can gear your talents to make you better at one of those roles. So, for example, I mainly focus on combat roles, and I mostly focus on tanking roles. So I play tanks most of the time. But I can also I've configured my character to be sort of a more of a support character. So when I'm not needed as a tank, I can switch to a sort of like a mid-tier damage dealer. I'm able to, um, well, um, how do I explain this? Okay, I guess I'm more into the druid role. The reason why druids, at least in the lore of this game, can perform these three different roles, and one of them at the same time, one of them at any time actually, is that they can shapeshift. And so, like in my tank role, I would be able to shapeshift into a bear to do that role. But um, I also have access to a cat form, and that cat form actually grants me different abilities. A cat role is more um, geared towards being like an assassin, so agility, damage base, and um, a bear form is more about defensive. So agility goes into not being where a hit is happening, and having a large stamina pool to basically, in decent armor, to mitigate damage and stuff. So, um, so as a tank, I'd be mostly in bear form, but I still have access to other forms. Um, Now, in the three primary forms of a druid, one of them being tank, and one of them tank and, well, three roles. Druids can be tanks, druids can be healers, druids can be damage dealers. As a tank, you're a bear most of the time. As as a healer, you're actually a tree or an ent if you're into Lord of the Rings. Kind of, you're like you have a tree form, and when you're in the tree form, you're a better healer. So there's that. Now, as a damage dealer, you have two options. Um, if you're more into melee, then you would go the path of a melee druid or a melee combat druid. So you would be more focused in being a cat. So more of a rogue-like character. You have invisibility. You can come out of the shadows. You can backstab and do similar type of attacks to a rogue. And you have shitty armor. And as a bear, that would obviously be different. You'd be more buffed, you'd have better armor, and you have better life pool. Um, Depending on your gear, you can possibly get to a point where the damage is comparable in cat form and bear form, but you have your rolls. Cats are about sneaking up, doing damage from behind, doing damage, agility-based attacks, and bears about attracting attention, keeping aggro, um, being the target, being able to taunt their targets into attacking them and not attacking their allies who are not as better geared or better protected. Now, there is a magic form of the druid that does damage, and it's called a moon. It turns into basically an owl bear. If you watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie, the one that came out, I think last year or the year before, with Christopher Pine, the druid, the girl druid with the horns, um, she's a tiefling, I believe. Um, the owl bear she turns into is kind of the creature you turn into, kind of the same idea, but maybe not so bear-like, more owl-like. And they're more focused about not fighting like it was kind of shown in the movie, more magical attacks. And so they do like more like they have this ability called Moonfire. We all have this ability, but they have the more deadlier form, where basically they call down a shaft of light to basically inflict damage from the moon, kind of thing. Um, they also have a more enhanced form of Wrath, which is like their Death Hadouken, and more magical range attacks, kind of thing. Um, they actually do pretty well for magical damage, and I think the deal with them is also they enhance magical damage to them and the people in their party. So a lot of people love Boomkins, which is what they're kind of nicknamed to. Um, but um, I play what is, I play a tank druid, or people refer to them as a feral druid. So when people ask you what type of druid you are, and you tell me you're a feral druid, you have to also specifically tell them that you're a tank feral druid, if that's what you are, or a cat druid, or a DPS druid. I mean, melee DPS druid would be a cat druid. Um, and of course, if you're not either of those, you're either they expect you either to be an awesome healer or an awesome DPS boomkin, pretty much. Okay, so that's kind of a rundown of kind of what to expect. Um, Created a new character. We're going to be doing some starter zone stuff probably a little later on today. Right now, I think I need to take a bit of a break and check up on some real life stuff, and then come back to do some more WoW gaming, I guess. All right. Um, but before we do, let's do the one thing that's staring us in the face right now. Now, this game's mostly about like the early part of the game. To get to level 85, we need experience, and you can go around and start killing stuff because you get experience stuff. You can get experience by killing stuff, but you get more experience if you do quests. Now, people with quests in this world look like this dude. They'll have an exclamation point top of the head, and that means they have something for you to do. Now, when you see these same people with a question mark, it means you have something to return to them. And then when you return whatever they ask you to get or to go kill and come back, this is where they reward you with gold, experience, and sometimes they might even offer a piece of gear. And so for the next 85 levels with Druinia, we're going to do some leveling and try to get to 85 and try to get geared as a druid in Cataclysm. So to kind of just start us off, we're going to take our first quest. So basically come up to the person with the exclamation point and right click on them, and a dialogue will come up. Read the dialogue. Train young druids, ensure the balance of nature. Whatever, it's just story stuff. Okay. Journey forth. Okay, so he wants us to kill some of these things. Young Night Sabers. Alright, so we'll accept the quest.
Go in peace.
And you'll see that the now question mark is now gray, which means that it's in progress. You've accepted a quest, he's waiting for stuff to return, and you have now to do a job. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do our first quest. So, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Now, the one thing that's missing is that I can actually do an auto attack, which is basically swing my staff. And for the time being, since I can't do very much but cast my magic Hadouken and swing my staff, that's kind of what I have available to me. But later on, I'll get more abilities and we'll be able to do different things and not have to swing this staff, which is pretty useless. Okay. Other thing, map. You have a mini-map that you can zoom in on. Gives you a top-down view. You are the this arrow over here. If you're in down. Yeah, that's you. Okay. And I have an add-on in the map that basically tells me where to go to finish my quest. Or to work on my quest. So it's telling me I should go this way. And all that. So, but I mean, like, a young Night Saber? What do I have to kill? Hang on. Let's move this a bit. I think. Wait, hang on. I don't know what this raid target thing is here for. I'll just put this. I'll put this here for now. There we go. Okay. So I need to kill young Night Sabers. Usually it tells me whether they're the targets. But let's go towards here. What's that? Tracking? Guess I have to go there. Wait a minute, is this... Yeah. I got like this UI stuff. Okay. Is this okay? This is telling me what the map will tell me. Okay. Here, and it's for my fishing, which you can do in this game. I'll show that some other time. All right. Okay. Let's kill stuff. So it usually tells me that these are my targets I should be killing, but we'll just go with it. So, how to kill stuff. Now, um, something I want to bring. Okay. Now, if we go back to the binding. Right. Now, if you go look for the tab, you'll see something called targeting and key bindings, and it'll give you a bunch of things you can do. You can target. Now you'll notice that I've mapped it to F, the F key, and that's because it's just right beside my ASWD. And so the way that works for me is that if I wanted to target something with my ability, I just have to press F, or tap F. And you'll see that it will try to target something in front of me. Alright? So we're going to want to kill one of those, and we're going to use our Wrath ability, so let's give that a try. You'll notice that my Wrath ability is key 3, and my attack ability is number 1. Right. So I'm going to give it a Wrath, and then beat it with my stick when I run out of magic, and see where that goes. Here we go. There we go, look at that. So we have a nearly killed cat, and you'll see if we pick it up. It had something in its inventory, basically junk, and did we increment? Yeah, you'll see that the quest tracker now says there's 1 of 6 slain, so we want to kill 5 more. Alright, let's do that. Got enough mana. Okay. You'll notice up here. Okay. These are indicators that tells me what I'm targeting. Right? And so the one on the, if you look up here on the top right corner next to the map, you'll notice that there are 2 targeting displays. And the first one is me. So you notice that when I click on it, it will target me because I'm targeting me. So now if I change my target to something in front of me, you'll see that my target, switch to my target, and you'll notice there's bars. The top bar is health. So a full colored bar means they have full health. Now, depending what type of creature they are, there might be a second bar, like me. And right now, that's my magic bar, or what they call the mana bar. It's basically, I can keep casting Wrath as long as I have mana. And Wrath consumes 2 mana each time I cast it. And you'll see the information like is on the right hand side as I hover over it. And it's telling me that it takes me about 1.5 seconds to cast. And I think there's a cooldown. Oh, there's a range. And on top of that, there might be a cooldown. It might tell you that there's a cooldown. Which means that you can't, if there is a cooldown, you can't instantly cast a new one. Right. Whereas if there was no cooldown, means you can just basically spam the button for that ability to work. Okay? Something to keep in mind. Okay? Like things have cooldowns and things take a while to cast. Okay? So the things that take a while to cast part, well, the important thing about that is if I were to, let's say I needed 3 shots on a target to kill it, and the target if it comes to me, can basically kill me in one shot. And with the distance that they're at, and the speed that they can come at me and the cooldown ability is important, and the cast time is important, because the cooldown means that you can't cast another one, and you need 3 of them to kill this target. And the so that's a cooldown. The cast time means that to fire a wrath ball, I need 1 point something seconds to cast it, to basically fire it off. So basically to, I don't know, pull magic into my body and, you know, say the magic words and fire my fireball, for example. That's the casting time. And of course, if you want to pull off 3 of those, you better hope that he's more than 3 seconds away. Well, even more than that, because there's a cooldown. If there's no cooldown, then 3 seconds definitely. So, things to keep in mind when you're dealing with the abilities. If you hover over the ability, it will tell you all these things. So, when you're leveling with a character and you get new abilities, like, read what the abilities actually are doing to understand it better. I guess it's word of thumb. Okay, so let's kill the rest of these things, or we need to kill 5 more, and then we'll call it a stream. There we go. So here he comes. It's probably going to do damage on me if I don't kill it. Oh, there we go. So we got number 2, and then if we click on it, we get stuff. Right click on it, we collect it. You'll notice that I have an inventory, and right now my inventory is very limited. I only have this much slots to collect stuff. And another thing you should notice in your inventory is that if they're great, it usually means that you can sell this stuff and you actually get some currency for it. So in this case, I get 1 penny if I were to sell it to a vendor or a virtual salesperson, which there are many of in this world. So you can go up to a salesperson and then sell this junk for money, and then use the money to buy weapons, gear, supplies, and that sort of thing. So that's the thing in this game. So we're down to, we need 4 more. Okay, let's kill 4 more. Let's just kill a bunch of them. Oh, they must have been enhanced. I don't remember ever having to kill these things so fast. So what are we at? We are 2 more. We need 2 more. Yes, let's kill 2 more. Uh-oh. Cool. It's dead. Okay, 1 more. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Alright, so I think we're done. Alright, so now if we go back to the elf, you'll see now you'll have a yellow question mark, and it means that they have stuff for you. Or you can turn in a quest. So right click on him, you get basically, oh, and he's clapping, look at that. And we get a choice. We can do armor gloves or cloth wrist. So I would go with the armored gloves, and it's leather. That's what I can wear. If I couldn't use it, you'll see like a red on the lettering. It will tell you cannot wear or something like that. So I can wear either at the moment, but I'll go for the heavy armor. And look at that. So what happened here is that I just leveled to level 2. Because I've done a bit of experience. And he has a new quest for me. That's what I'll get when I finish it. I'll accept that.
Denadris.
All right, and that's it. That's the oh, where's another quest here? Let's do that.
How may I help?
And here we got a bag, so we can expand our inventory. If I were to pop this bag thing, you see that I have slots for more bags, and so if I get this, I'll have more bags to put stuff in. And bags are really important in games like this, because when you're going around doing quests and collecting all this stuff, and the stuff that falls off stuff you kill, you need a lot of bags. Um, so probably one of the best things, um, rule of thumb, good advice, if you have friends in this game, I mean, gold's cool. It means you can go and buy stuff, you know, and but if they can give you bags, especially if they're a tailor, um, take it. And take the biggest bag they can make you. And have them make you to fill up all your slots. Because if you manage to deal with the inventory situation, because right now I can only carry like what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're at 12, 16, 20. So I have 20 slots. I can carry 20 things. And that fills up really quick, as you'll see. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be a thing. So we're going to accept this quest, and we'll do the quest when I come back. And see if we can get through all this. Alright, so I guess that's it for now. I'm going to take a little break and come back and do another stream afterwards. Take a look at the stream that I just did. And that's it for now. I guess till next time. Cheers.